Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, walking to your local supermarket, and finding the shelves completely empty. Not because of a pandemic, not because of a riot, but because of something far more permanent. The supply chain as we know it is dying. And honestly, it might be the best thing that could happen to you. Hi, I'm your host, and in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you the silent revolution that's reshaping where your products come from, how much they cost, and why the next decade of global commerce will look nothing like the last one. So stick around. For the last 30 years, we've been living a lie. Companies convinced us they'd figured out the just-in-time supply chain. Ships leaving Asia with products timed to arrive the exact moment a store needed them. No warehouses, no waste. Pure efficiency. It was a beautiful system. Until it wasn't. Then came COVID. A sneeze in Wuhan turned into lockdowns, which turned into a massive port shutdown, which turned into empty shelves in America. And not just for a few weeks. We're talking months, years, in some cases. Global shipping costs went from $500 per container to a staggering $15,000. 14-month delays weren't uncommon. And companies realized something terrifying. Their entire business model was built on a house of cards. But COVID was just a warm-up act. Then came the geopolitical shocks. Trade wars, sanctions, the blockade of the Suez Canal. And suddenly, companies weren't just worried about efficiency anymore. They were worried about survival. Here's where it gets interesting. Corporations started doing something they hadn't done in decades. They brought manufacturing home. It's called reshoring, and it's a fundamental reversal of 30 years of globalization. Companies are moving production from Asia back to America, Europe, and other developed nations. But here's the catch, it costs way more. A t-shirt that costs $5 to make in Vietnam costs $15 to make in Georgia. A semiconductor that took 2 weeks to arrive from Taiwan now takes 8 weeks because you're rebuilding it domestically. So why are billion-dollar corporations making this seemingly insane decision? Because they've realized that cheap isn't worth it if your supply chain collapses every 5 years. They're sacrificing short-term profits for long-term stability. It's the corporate equivalent of finally reading the insurance policy. But reshoring isn't the only play. There's another strategy you've probably never heard of, friendshoring. Instead of manufacturing in your home country, you partner with countries you actually trust. India instead of China. Mexico instead of Vietnam. Vietnam instead of China again. NATO allies instead of adversaries. It's geopolitics meets supply chain strategy. And it's happening right now. Here is where it gets really wild. Supply chain companies are using technology that sounds like science fiction. Imagine a perfect digital replica of your entire supply chain. Every warehouse, every truck, every factory exists in a virtual world. In this digital world, AI is constantly running scenarios, asking questions like, what happens if this port shuts down? Or, what if this supplier goes bankrupt? Before it actually happens, the AI has already modeled thousands of alternatives. Companies are now using machine learning to predict demand 3 years in advance. Not guesses, actual AI-powered predictions that factor in everything from social media trends to weather patterns to geopolitical events. Amazon can tell you what color iPhone cases you want to buy before you even know you want to buy them. And then there's blockchain. You know, the cryptocurrency thing? Well, companies are using it to create an unbreakable record of every product from raw material to your doorstep. Want to know if your coffee was ethically sourced? Scan the code. Want to verify that your luxury watch wasn't a counterfeit? The blockchain knows. It's solving the problem that's caused companies hundreds of billions in lost revenue to counterfeiting. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Supply chains are no longer just about economics anymore. They're about power. The US and China are in the process of completely untangling their supply chains. Think about that for a second. Two of the world's largest economies are actively trying to not depend on each other. This isn't a trade war. This is a divorce. Countries are also waking up to a terrifying reality. They don't control the resources they need. America doesn't have enough lithium for batteries. Europe doesn't have enough rare earth elements for electronics. China has 90% of the world's processing capacity for these materials. So now, nations are doing something they haven't done since World War II. They re-protecting their resources like they re-protecting their military secrets. What we're seeing is the emergence of new economic blocs. The West is no longer one bloc. It's splitting into the US and its allies North America, Europe, Japan. Europe trying to go independent, Asia forming its own networks, and everyone trying to court India as the swing vote. It's chess played with billions of dollars and millions of jobs. So real talk, what does this mean for your wallet? Prices are going up, not because of inflation in the traditional sense, but because everything is becoming more expensive to make and move around. That $15 shirt, expect $20 to $25 in 5 years. That $1,000 smartphone, expect $1,200. Gas prices, groceries, everything, they're moving higher. But, and this is important, there's also a massive opportunity here. New jobs are being created in manufacturing, logistics, and tech. Entire industries are emerging that don't exist yet. If you're in supply chain, logistics, or tech, you're looking at a career boom that could last 2 decades. Countries like India, Mexico, and Southeast Asia are about to become the next manufacturing hubs. If you invest early, you could see returns that rival anything the stock market offers. The real question isn't, will things change? They already are. The question is, are you going to adapt to this new world, or are you going to be caught off guard? The Great Reset is here. Empty shelves aren't coming. They're already happening in certain sectors. Prices are already rising. Companies are already reshoring. The geopolitical competition for resources is already heating up. So what do? First, pay attention to where your products come from. Second, if you work in supply chain, logistics, or manufacturing, understand that your industry is about to explode. Third, start thinking about how these changes affect your life and your investments. Because in the next decade, supply chains won't just shape the global economy, they'll shape geopolitics, wars, and who wins and loses in the new world order. If you found this valuable, hit that subscribe button. Comment below, what supply chain shift are you most concerned about? And check out our next video, where we dive deep into exactly how to profit from these changes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.